Hello, Esther and Mrs. Agri. How are you doing today?
Hello, Mrs. Brackon. We are well.
Yeah.
We are doing great.
Good to see you back after 1 week. So, how has your week been?
Yeah, I would say the week has been fruitful. We've had a better week this week.
Okay. I won't go into that. I was going to ask you what you meant by better, but I won't go into that because today I want us to do something different. So, last week when we were getting off, just about getting off, there was a little misunderstanding about one of the topics. And I said that we will have to come back to it because it was time. So today I want us to do a little exercise. I feel like if we need to go forward in this, then there has to be some kind of a communication between the two of you. And one has to be able to listen to the other to be able to hear what the other person is saying. So today's exercise is going to be based on trying to build some kind of a closer bond between the two of you and to work on your communication skills so that can help us moving forward in all the issues that we are supposed to deal with. How does this sound?
That's okay.
That's okay? Okay, good. So, who is going to be our speaker? We need one person to be the speaker and the other person will be the listener, and then we will switch over. And if there are any questions, we will go over that.
I'm comfortable to start as the speaker.
Okay, great. So, like I told you earlier, this is about communication, trying to build your communication, effective communication between the two of you. So, Mr. Agri, if Mrs. Agri is speaking and you have something to say, you want to make sure that at least she finishes her sentence so that you can ask your question or say what you want to say, because we want to try to see if there can be any exercise of self-control or patience, a little bit of gentleness that is different from the norm that we already have. Okay, so Mrs. Agri, since you have decided to be the first person to go, if you can please look at Mr. Agri and let him know what is on your heart or what is your concern.
Thank you, Mrs. Brackle. So I have had a concern the past few months, or I would say over a little over a year now, and I would like to bring your attention to it. I have observed that when we are when we are together, just the two of us, which I can overlook, and also when we are in the midst of people, including when we have people visiting us, you have the tendency to go to your phone, and you could be on your phone scrolling through your phone for minutes on end. And usually it's a bit awkward when that happens, because I feel that it's all part of relationship building. And ethically, when you have somebody visiting you, or sitting, a human being sitting in front of you having a conversation, and you're on your phone, it's it might come off as not being interested or not wanting to be there. And this happens. This has happened severally. I would say in the past 2 3 months, um, one of the issues that have prompted me to bring this up is the fact that in some conversations you could see that the visitor, or whoever we're having a conversation with, is looking at you or trying to draw your attention, like talking to you, but you're busy on the phone and the conversation just dies. I think in one or two occasions I have said, "Oh, they are talking to you," or the person is trying to get your attention. I feel that it is not the best for relationship building with the people around us. It's also not the best for me, but maybe personally, I can talk about it, and whenever you're talking to me, put your phone down. But I think that it's something you might need to look at. I understand that there are times when you need to look at something and come back, but for most of the time, you are just scrolling, and it's like you just blocked everyone out, and you were not like that previously. It's something I noticed a little over a year ago, and you get sucked into it. And I think it is not the best. In a cultural setting, it might come off as disrespectful. It might come off as not valuing the presence of the other people there. And personally, when the person is trying to make eye contact with you or prompting you to do something, and I'm there, I feel a bit awkward and a bit embarrassed, because it's like, yeah, my husband does not even notice that you are here, yet you are speaking to him. So this is something I wanted to draw your attention to, and hopefully you might also reflect on it and make some changes, so that at least as a couple, and also amongst the people that we have community with, whether at church, at home, our social community, then it could also help to improve the relationship building around us. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Agri. Mr. Agri, what did you hear your wife say right now?
Well, I heard two things. One is to do with my use of mobile phone,
Okay.
even when I'm in the midst of people who are conversing with me. I honestly didn't know that this is really what was happening, or I didn't know it was this bad.
Okay.
Yes, I know she's prompted me in a few instances, but I was just probably looking at something on my phone. I didn't know I was actually stuck to my phone whilst I was supposed to be having a conversation. So yes, I'm going to make an effort on that, probably to put my phone away when I'm supposed to be talking to people. Yes, the second one was with her. I thought
Okay.
what I realized was I thought we are both holding our phones anytime we are together. So I didn't know I was yes, but still, I still hear what she's saying. And thanks for drawing my attention. In case, yes. So that's what I want to say. Good.
Okay.
Mr. Agri, you were laughing a little bit or smiling a little bit at the end. And I heard you say that you thought the two of you do it at the same time. So I want to ask this. Have you ever told your wife
Mhm.
about it? Like, see her do the same thing that she's told you about? And have you ever, prompted her?
No, I haven't. I've never done that.
Okay. So, Mrs. Agri, how do you feel about what Mr. Agri just said?
Um. Um. I'm happy. I'm happy that he said he would take a look at it and rectify whatever situation that was there. Um, I was not sure if he got what I was saying about the part with me, because it was not about being together and holding a phone. I was talking about when you're having a conversation with someone. So typically, and it's good he brought that up. I'm sure I may have done that a few times, but for some reason, because of how for the past 1.5 years he does this externally, like not amongst the two of us, it has made me a bit cautious. So if for most times, if he wants to have a conversation with me, I would not be on my phone like scrolling continuously. So I just I'm highlighting this to distinguish. I'm not saying when we are together, I'm saying when we are having a conversation. And I also mentioned when I was speaking to you that I do understand if you need to check something on your phone and get back to the people. But in this case, it is scrolling. I mean, there are times I have peeped and maybe you're on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, which it's shocking. Like you could be on like 5 minutes. You're not even looking at anyone. So it is not the short. I understand, yes, you need to sometimes you need to check something, receive an email and all that, but it is just closing your mind to everybody around and getting sucked into that. But I'm happy that it's something that he has committed to taking a look at and resolving upon reflection. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that he heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, he heard some of the things that you said and he addressed them, but not all of them. You mentioned some part about you. So if you can clarify that part, because I think that his answer shows that he understood what you said about being in the midst of people and using his phone. So he's going to try to do something about it. But the part where you said about you, I don't think that he understood it the way you wanted him to. Maybe that is why he did not answer that part. So if you can separate that part from the what he has already admitted and agreed to do something about, and just how do I say it? Stay on your part that he did not get.
Okay.
Let's see if he will understand you better.
Okay.
Okay.
So I regarding communication between the two of us, or when we are having a conversation, there are times when you would maybe I want to talk to you about something, and you start a conversation looking at me all right, and halfway you just get on your phone and you begin scrolling. Severally I will ask, are you listening? You say yes, like go on. But at that point it makes me lose interest even in what I'm saying, because I feel like you are scrolling with TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It makes me the person talking, it makes me feel I shouldn't even be talking, or you have no interest in what I'm saying, or you don't value what I am saying. So it is something that is of concern to me, and I would be grateful if it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. It is getting frequent now, but it is something that if you took a look at together with when we are in the midst of other people, would be helpful.
Okay, Mrs. Agri. Thank you. Mr. Agri,
Yes,
this is
miss.
what your wife is saying.
Yeah.
Did
I
you?
yes. I think I understand her what she's saying. So I'm going to put in a lot of effort going forward. Anything conversation, my phone would not be with me until I think we are done with the conversation.
Okay. So I have a question. When Mrs. Agri was talking, she mentioned that it wasn't frequent at first, but it's becoming frequent now. The question I want to ask you, Mrs. Agri, is do you see that it's increasing because of a certain situation, or does it become frequent when something happens? Like, is there anything that triggers that? Is it something that you say, or how you say it, or is it where you are, the location? Does anything have an effect on how often he does that.
I wouldn't know that because and it's something I picked up because I mean since we met, and I mean at a point in my life I was always carrying my phone and my laptop around, and I remember we spoke to one counselor, and it was one of the things he disliked. He would say, yes, I want to speak to my wife, I don't want my wife to have a phone, I don't want my wife to be on the laptop. So I was a bit surprised when I noticed that these days he does it frequently. Initially I thought it was just me, but we have actually had our children saying, because sometimes we have the children say, oh, let's have a family conversation, let's watch a family movie, or play a family game, and the children would say, oh, daddy's always on his phone. Daddy, are you listening? We have even joked and said, daddy, put your phone down. And sometimes they would tell me, and when I tell them, tell him he's here, but he would just still be good. I don't know, maybe there is something on social media that is catching his attention. Maybe, I mean, TikTok has got the whole world, but I don't know. Instagram, I don't know what he's looking at. It's when he's sitting beside me that I would peep to see what he's looking at. But if not, I would not know what he's looking at. So it's hard to know if there's a trigger for it. Because the thing is, once he sits down, and even when we are watching them on good days or on good nights, when we want to watch a movie, he's still that. Like you're watching a movie, you're having a conversation, then he goes up, maybe like 10 minutes, he's just he's doing that. And if he's reading something, but if he's just doing this, okay, he's just probably scrolling to something. So I don't know if there's a trigger for it. Maybe it's he is I think he's best placed to reflect and share if there's a trigger for that, but I haven't thought about it and I would not know.
Okay, Mr. Agri, you almost interrupted at some points, like you had something to say, so we're listening.
well, whatever she said is true. I'm only just going to have a look at it and check myself. I totally admit it's a bad habit. Yes. So I'm going to have a look at it. I'm going to really check myself and not be doing that.
Okay. So let me just say this. Maybe that will help. So you are here because you want to help each other. You want to make your relationship a better one. So
Yes.
both of you are supposed to be helping each other in any issues that come up. So with the issue of triggers, sometimes you who observe the problem can actually see the reality of things and what causes those things. So from what Mr. Agri was saying, he knows he does it, but he didn't know that he was doing it that much. But you, Mrs. Agri, have noticed it. So one of the good things that the two of you can do, and I'm sure right now he's going to be from now on be a little conscious of it because he wants to improve. But you can actually look at the situation and say, hey, it looks like every time you come back from maybe work, that's when you pick up your phone. Okay, so maybe when you come from work, instead of holding your phone, when you get maybe to the dining table, leave your phone there before you come to the living room. Or because you're supposed to help, you are not trying to tell him what to do, but you're trying to tell him what you have noticed with that situation. And you can apply this to a lot of things in a lot of areas. So you see that anytime you come and sit down to watch a movie, then the kids say it. So it's probably around that time. Is it because he's not interested in the movie you guys are choosing? Or at that time, he really doesn't want to watch a movie, but he has to sit there because you and the kids want him to be there. In that sense, he will have to be conscious of it. even if I'm not interested, maybe at this time I have to give it to them and I have to put my phone down. So it is not just him who is doing what is not supposedly to be done at that time, who is responsible for it, but the two of you are responsible for helping each other do the thing that you want to do. So if you have noticed it, then it will be best to, if something happens again, then to tell him, hey, this happened the last time. It was because of XYZ. Maybe that's the reason you are doing this. So you might want to look at it. But I know that once he has said that he's going to take care of things, he's going to be conscious of it. Then he's going to do something about it. Then he's going to be conscious of it. And so anytime he picks his phone, then he will probably remember. But you have to remember also that he's human. And so, yes, he is committed to doing this. But because it's something that he's been doing, you will find him probably doing it again. But that is where you will have to come in as the help that you are to make sure that this doesn't happen. Do you guys have any question?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay. Mrs. Agri, do you have any question? Okay, so
No.
Are you sure?
No, I don't have any question.
Okay. So I noticed, and I think I've mentioned this, that Mr. Agri wanted to interrupt at some point and then he stopped. This conversation in a normal setting outside of this counseling session could have developed into something else. Could have, but it did not, because we said that we're going to work on communication, right? So the same way that you were able to sit on whatever you wanted to say and wait till for the other person to finish before you interjecting is the same thing you have to practice in all other issues. Which means that for communication to be effective, there has to be self-control at some point. The person who is talking must take a risk of saying whatever they want to say. And the other person has to be patient to listen to it before they talk. And they say that practice makes man perfect, right? You can't, if footballers don't practice, they can't be good on the pitch when they play. If basketball players don't practice, they can't be. And if you go to work and you don't even learn anything about the work that you're going to do, you can't be good at it. And so for everything as human beings, we need to work on it. So if communication is the key, one of the issues that we need to solve, then we have to realize that some of these things are very important. These virtues that we are talking about are very important. And we have to start to incorporate them in every conversation that we have. And remember, gentleness is also part of it. So if I have to be gentle, then it means that I don't have to be that aggressive when I'm talking. So we have to keep all of that in mind. At the end of the day, we are all looking for a good thing, that the relationship will work, that communication will work. So are we good on that?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Agri, we good?
I'm good.
Okay. So for the next week, that is what you are going to be practicing. Making sure that your communication is better than it was before, and reminding yourselves of the virtues that you need whilst communicating so that you can put them in practice. So thank you very much for coming in today, and I hope to see you guys again next week. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you too, Mrs. Sparkle.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.